It's just like you said in Migration. If you're gonna encumber us with Aquafina, you might as well hit her with a bus a few times. Welcome everyone to Cinema Regulars, the movie review show where we see so many movies in theaters that the employees know us by name and they don't ask us what movies we're seeing, they ask us how many. Now, for the first time ever on the podcast, we've only got 2 movies on our docket today. So we'll be looking at If, and then we'll be following that up with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
That's a mouthful.
It is. It's a lot of words for one movie, so that title's gonna be really long at the bottom of the screen today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, let's just get rolling straight into If.
So, if is after discovering she can see everyone's imaginary friends, a girl embarks on a magical adventure to reconnect forgotten ifs with their kids.
Yeah.
Kind of a noble cause, you know. Pretty Marvel idea, huh?
Yeah.
You know, great,
So it's
great,
like
great idea.
so like
It's like
they're kind of so like she gets there and like they're all like living together and like what I guess one could refer to as sort of like a foster home for imaginary friends, if you will.
oh yeah, like that's totally what it is. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Like,
Yeah. And then like the
Yeah.
main imaginary friend, his name is Blue.
oh yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a really good, really original
He is
idea.
he is purple as well.
He's purple, his name
So
is Blue.
kind of a
I'm
oversight.
gonna come out and say this. They ripped it off of Foster's Home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It says all over the marketing, like from the mind of Jonathan Krasinski. Like yeah, from his mind after he got done watching Foster's Home. I'm gonna say.
It's still a fun movie.
Yeah, I mean they did enough different with it that it's
Yeah.
something else, but really, come on. You even
It is different, but the premise is the same.
Yeah.
It is. Even down to the main imaginary friend
Well,
being called Blue.
the other thing about it is
Like,
that
bro.
like from what I remember of Foster's Home, it was a place that people came to like they either A dropped off their imaginary friends or B it was a place that you came to for it and it wasn't them going out trying to match people to them. From
Yeah,
what I remember.
it was a like you were adopting them, so it was like a
Yeah.
almost like some sort of foster home.
Yeah. You know, okay. You don't gotta be like that.
Yeah, that's true. No, but it was like an orphanage. This was more like a retirement home, and then there was like, let's
Yeah.
get back to the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually quite like this movie.
Yeah, it was
This
alright.
movie this movie like
Mm-hmm.
this movie like hit me in the feels so hard though.
Yeah.
It really did, but we'll talk more on that later, but let's get to like actual like details about the movie itself. Like I've never seen the girl in anything before. I think she did a great job in this.
Yeah, she was pretty good. Um, Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds. I think this is definitely one of those movies where they just like stack the cast with big names for irrelevant roles just because they can, and then that just
It's
makes
fair.
like their cast list look really big. So I
That's
think literally,
fair.
and a lot of the characters were like super unnecessary side characters. They literally could have pulled any random guy off of a New York street to just record lines for these things. But they
Yeah.
chose instead to shell out millions of dollars more to get recognizable voices in there.
Well, yeah, and you know, when it comes to a movie like this, like it's it's kind of the formula for movies with a lot of big characters. You know, you throw them in there, and you know, it gives like this is a kids movie, so like there are those moments where like you know parents that have no interest in the movie at all, you know, it's they while they're watching they can be like, oh hey, I know that person, I've heard that voice
Right,
before.
but is it worth it? That
Probably not.
like the kids watching this aren't gonna know who that is. The parents are gonna be like, "Oh, hey,
Yeah.
there he is," and there he
There
goes.
he is.
Bye. Never to be seen from again from this movie. Glad they paid an extra couple $1 billion for that. I'm just saying, like, they could have increased their profits if they used, like, not all of these people. Like, I mean, I like a lot of the
Mhm.
people who are voicing the cast, like the Sam Rockwell dog, Bradley
Yeah.
Cooper, uh, fucking third option. Um,
Who's
but
Bradley
like,
Cooper?
he was the
The
ice.
ice.
He was the glass of
Oh
water.
yeah. Yeah, he was. Was Sonny Chris Pine?
That was Matt Damon.
That was Matt Damon? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I like Sonny.
Aquafina was in this movie.
Aquafina
Aquafina's
was a
in
bubble. She died repeatedly, which is Isaac is happy about.
yeah, that was a great moment. That was best part of
It's
the film.
just it's just like you said in Migration. If you're
Oh,
gonna
go ahead.
encumber us with Aquafina, you might as well hit her with a bus a few times.
Yeah,
True.
and I stand by that statement. I am
Ugh.
Isaac and I approve this message.
I think the only thing I'd really want to touch on is like the spoiler. I guess you can call it that. Like the
Yeah,
big
okay.
twist at the end.
I don't
So
have a whole lot to say
spoilers
about this movie,
ahead.
honestly.
Well, yeah, until we get to the end here, but
Yeah.
um spoiler warning. Um so Ryan Reynolds' character who is acting as like the I'll show you around. Here's how everything works. It turns out that
Yeah.
he is the imaginary friend of the girl, like the main character. Which at the end they act as like some big like surprise, but like
Yeah.
in the middle of the movie, like as soon as she gets to like where all the imaginary friends are, they go to like the old bear guy one, and he's talking to her about Ryan Reynolds' character, and he was like, "Oh, he used to be okay." So like she at the beginning of the movie, she pulls out a book, and there's a bookmark on it that she drew on it. There's a little clown guy that says "Smile," and I'm like, "Oh, cool." And then later she meets the bear guy, and he's talking to her about the guy, and he's like, "Oh, he used to be a clown, you know. His whole purpose in life was to make you smile." And I was like, "Oh, so he's hers." Okay. Like
Oh.
I
Yeah.
thought like there was like they spelled it out for you right there. Like they weren't hiding it at
I
all.
didn't. I wasn't even paying attention to the bookmark, and I still got it.
Yeah.
I
Like
got
they
it.
straight up.
I got it like a little later, but I still got it.
They threw it in your face like a pie from a clown named Ryan Reynolds in this
That
movie.
wasn't his name in the movie.
Well, what was his name? Calvin? Calvin, because they had Calvin and
Yeah.
Hobbes book in the closet. Merrick, you saw that?
Yeah. Yeah. They kind of just tell you in the middle of the movie, and then uh, act like it's a plot twist at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still saw it, but I didn't get the "they told you" thing. It was more of just a like, oh,
They
he's
did.
gonna end up being her thing, And like, I don't know, this was one of those movies that like really, really hit me harder than I thought it would. It was, it's hard to explain because the whole premise of the movie is like, oh, these imaginary friends, and so, but then you forget about them, and it's kind of akin to like when you're I've moved around a lot as a kid, so I've made friends before that I haven't seen in years, and it kind of hits home sometimes. It kind of hits home that like, forgotten friends, people I literally have not seen and or haven't thought about, and this movie kind of brought a lot of that back.
Mm.
Like a lot of it back, and it like the scene also like one scene that really got me was because when they got the idea to like, spoiler warning again, when they got to the point where they're like, oh, let's try and reconnect you with your kids, your old kids, we're gonna try and reconnect you with your kids. And like the first one was very sweet. I really liked the first one where they're like, where like she starts dancing with her and everything. Like that was very, very, very
Yeah.
sweet. But my the one that broke me was Blue reconnecting with his, because first of all, he's been the lovable idiot character through the whole freaking movie. So like, you kind of fall for that kind of character. But the part that really got me was when he reconnects with his kid and he just puts his hand on his shoulder and he just like you're okay. Like he's sitting there and the dude is literally having a panic attack. He puts his hand on his shoulder and like he has that you're okay moment, and it I don't know, it just, the whole premise of reconnecting with lost friends is just is just very, very emotionally charged for me.
And then that's probably where we differ, because I was pretty much unfazed by the movie. I mean, I liked the part with the grandma. I liked the characters were like entertaining. Like I wasn't bored at all. This wasn't like below me. Like it was like, oh, this stupid kids movie. It's like the difference between a kids movie and a family movie. Like you could take
Yeah.
everyone to it and everyone can like enjoy it. Not
Yeah.
just like take your kids to it and they'll like it while you regret buying the ticket for yourself.
True.
It's just like that. I like that it was really non-offensive in any way.
Huh?
Like they didn't put anything like obnoxiously annoying in it. They didn't, jam it full of woke crap. They didn't like do anything. Like it was just a nice like family movie. Like this could have, like, if the graphics were like, a little cheaper and like with different voice actors, this could have been something that released in like the early 2000s. Like it could, like it feels like just a, like a good old family movie, and you don't see anything just flat out nice anymore. And I thought that was a nice fresh bounce back to the family film genre.
Yeah, like I said, okay. While this movie really got me in the feels, it it didn't really phase me all that much. Well, like in the sense of it didn't blow me away. Like this wasn't a super like oh amazing movie. Like I'm aware of that. It just
Yeah, it was all right.
like in the moment experiencing it for that time, like it's kind of like one scene. Like you ever get in your feels a little bit and then it's like anything else that would add on top of that just kind of spirals you a little bit. It was like that. It was just one scene got me and then it just snowballed from there. Like all the rest
Mm,
of the emotional scenes of the movie just made me emotional alongside of it. But like the movie
right.
Hmm.
itself is an all right movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
um,
Merrick, do you have anything to say before we move on?
Um, every once in a while, I was thinking about how it looks from other people's perspectives who can't see the imaginary friends, and the scene where they're like going to reconnect Blue with his kid, she's just sitting there eating croissants, staring at him.
yeah, yeah, because no one could see Ryan Reynolds. Like it's just
True.
her staring at this man eating croissants.
Once you have the context that no one can see Ryan Reynolds, like the beginning part where like he's going in to like get the giant purple and blue out of that kid's room, and he's just like, Shh, we have to be quiet. It's like, why? Neither of you like can be seen or heard. You're
Yeah,
good.
he didn't have to roll under the bed either.
He didn't, but he did for the funny for
But
us.
For the
so
pulling the
to
wool
keep the
over our
secret.
eyes. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's just
and
extra like that.
Also,
true.
I kind of like it because once you realize that he's like okay, again, I got it much later in the movie than you guys did. Like I had that moment once I realized like oh, he's her imaginary friend. Like it it just kind of recolors the movie a bit and I think I mean, Ryan Reynolds is a good actor no matter what. Like, I think he played that character. I mean, he kind of plays himself in every movie, honestly.
All right. I think that should about cover up our base opinions. Not too much. Pretty light movie. Very easily digestible. So let's head on into the rankings and see what we got for this.
I think I'm giving this movie like a low 7.
Hmm.
Like I was going to I was only going to give it a 6, but the way that it impacted me emotionally, I kind of felt obligated to give it like higher than just a 6.
Um, well, 6 is what I'm gonna give this. It's a pretty round 6 for me. Nice family movie, inoffensive. Uh, it's super sweet and bubbly. If this was something that my kid uh made me, dragged me to go see on a weekend, I wouldn't be mad. I'd be like, "Oh, finally something decent and child appropriate."
Yeah.
I'm gonna give if a 6 out of 10 as well.
Also, Isaac wants to fuck the bug. Anyways, moving on to Kingdom of the Planet of the
All right, on to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
Long ass title on the bottom of the screen. Uh, Many years after the reign of Caesar, a young ape goes on a journey that will lead him to question everything he's been taught about the past and make choices that will define a future for apes and humans alike.
Yes. I think that's a fairly generic statement about the movie, but I like that it's a lot more than that. So if that's all
Yeah.
you read before going into it, you'll be pleasantly surprised. So the Caesar trilogy of the Planet of the Apes from like the 2010s, those are all like 8 out of 10s for me. They're all super great movies,
Yeah.
and like they all run into each other very nicely. Like it's a good like trilogy 3-part story, and it's all connected very well. So flashing forward like 300 years, I believe it is, or about that.
It said
Um
many generations.
right, but I looked it up and it was like 300 years. So we're past the point of humans being gone, reduced to animals, but we're not quite at the point where apes are like fully civilized yet. So we're kind of somewhere in this middle ground where they're kind of in the stone. I don't want to say stone age, but like a what's like the next metal like thing up, like a steel age or
The
bronze age or
Bronze
something.
Age.
Yeah, yeah. So there's somewhere in between there, like
I mean, they're learning to use
Proximus.
like old human technology.
They want to. That's their whole thing, is that they
They
want to
want
get
to.
that, and they have the only like actual technology thing that they have is like spears with like live wires at the end of them, so they can like electrocute
Well,
you like cattle
that
prods.
was
And the
that
only
was the
reason,
guy though.
yeah, the only reason they have those is because they found like one smart human who was able to build them for them. Um,
Yeah.
They did have explosives, but that could have been the guy too.
Yeah.
yeah, like every like decent technology thing that they had is just
Yeah.
shit that they found.
Well, before we get to that area of the movie, though, I kind of want to talk about the civilization that, like, the main character Noah's like had, like their clan,
Yes.
like the way that
Yeah.
they had that, because that was
I
actually
think that's
really cool
really cool.
that they
Yeah,
became like
the
bird
splitting up
people,
into
like bird masters.
clans.
1,000 years.
Oh, that
Yeah,
too. Yes.
I like that they
Well,
split up into clans and they're not just all one hive mind
Yeah.
society of apes already. Like they kind of made their own factions, and then the fact that these ones, raise eagles is pretty
well,
cool.
that's the other thing is that like it took them a while to get to for like Proximus's people to get there, for those apes to get there. Like so
Hmm.
for all we know, like they could have been completely unaware of each other is the thing. Like cuz that was one of the things when watching the original Planet of the Apes. Like there were moments I think even at one point there was someone saying like what if there are other apes out there? Like it is a fairly contained area that they live in. So it's
Mhm.
like
Oh, in the
same thing here.
when you said
Sorry.
original, you
In the
meant
original,
like
sorry. I
the
meant like the
Caesar
original Planet.
Caesar trilogy, not the OG Planet of the
No, I
Apes.
meant the OG. I meant the OG. Like the civilization that they have, like it is fairly secluded to one area. Like by the end of the movie, this is Earth. This is Earth, and you
Yeah.
are up. Which means all you see is a very small portion. So for all they know, there could be other civilizations of apes out there.
Well, they
So
would
like,
okay, so in the original OG Planet of the Apes, their premise is that apes rule the world. They always have been.
yeah,
Uh, God was an ape and created them in his own ape image, is their belief.
yeah,
In the Caesar run, they mentioned uh, there is there other apes out there besides us, because they all came from like one big place, and then
Yeah.
all secluded themselves in the woods, and then the disease just spread around the world without them, so they don't know if there's other apes out there.
Until war.
No, right, but the whole conversation is false because they have in Kingdom, this movie, they see the dark tunnel in the beginning of the movie, and they're talking about outsiders, like people not of their tribe. And it isn't until they smell the blanket that the human left behind that they realize that it's not ape. So they know that there's other tribes, there's other factions of themselves out there.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
I only thought they were talking about humans, not other apes.
No, because they said outsiders, and then they sniffed it, and he says not ape.
Okay. Anyway, but anyway, what I was trying to say is that like that kind of takes away the experience then a small bit because like I was like in the idea that they were like unaware, not that they were like, is there other people out there? Like they knew that there were others, but like it
Well,
was
I
one
mean,
of those things where it's like,
it's still kind
yeah,
of got that because they've been forbidden to go beyond the area, so they're still like
yeah,
unaware of the whole world. They're unaware
yeah,
of like the humans and what they built, like the scene where he's looking through the telescope and like and the
yeah.
fact that we don't get
Mm-hmm.
to see what he sees through that, like I think that's a nice touch though, like to keep us guessing. But he sees something through it, and that kind of, I don't know.
It was
Yeah.
it was a cool moment and like that he kept doing it because it was the other thing I kind of didn't 100% really like. There was one facet of it that by the end it made me it left kind the ending of this movie left kind of a sour note in my mouth a little bit just because it is just personally for me because of like spoiler alert thing like the one girl who's like smarter than the rest of she's not the only one. She's not the only one like that. And
What is uh,
like she's not the
what's the
only
problem?
I don't I don't know. Well, cuz like once we found out that she could talk and everything, like it kind of became a point where it was just accepted that she was just a normal human and she knew all this normal human shit.
Yeah.
Like in the sense of like she knew where to go in this thing. I mean, I granted you find out by the end that it's like that was her mission, quote unquote,
Yeah, it was to get
and
the
like
data box from the
so
vault. But
that way they connect
Mm-hmm.
like to satellites and stuff. But like
right. So you didn't see Beneath the Planet of the Apes, which is the second movie in the
Ah,
OG trilogy.
yeah. I was
But
about to
in
ask if
yeah,
you've
he
seen
has
that,
not.
but
So
okay.
in that movie, it's revealed that there's a group of humans that have been underground the whole time, and they've kind
yeah,
of like kept their intelligence. In fact, they're like borderline psychic and like
okay,
psychokinetic down there. They've just been doing their stuff. So it's kind of always been around that there's some humans that survive intellectually, and then in the middle of the movie, when they're talking about or when May is talking to fucking Fravathan, worst name ever, by the way.
yeah, sounds pretty
She
Couldn't
bad.
says,
decide to name him Travis or Nathan, so they
yeah,
named them both.
yeah. She said when the government went underground, half of them went here, like into the bunker there. Which
Okay,
implies, with context from the end of the movie, that the other half went to the other bunker where she's from. So That's where all the smart people, the government people, the survivalists have been hiding out, carrying on their intellect throughout the years, which is where she comes
Okay.
from. And I don't like that for the reason that I think they need to just give the fuck up on the human characters, because at
That's
where the
where I was
Planet of the
going.
Apes is, at where it is, the ape stuff is way more fucking interesting than anything that people have to say. I did not care
Yeah.
for Mai and her character and whatever she was doing, like, because it kind of just served as like a little
Oh, her name
distraction
was
from
May.
May. I don't care what her name is.
They're all named Nova.
Her name is Nova, okay?
Her name
I
is
don't
Nova. They're
care
all named
what her
Nova.
name is. I don't care what she's doing. I don't care what her plan is.
But yeah, you are
Okay, we're
correct.
in
The
this
ape part of this
fantasy
movie was
world.
way better.
Show me the monkey. That's all I
Yeah,
have to say.
the monkey part of this movie is so much better. Like
Yeah.
they do. You are correct. You hit the nail on the head. They need to just give up on the human characters. It was kind of distracting for the most part. Like I said, I didn't like it was distracting that she was just a normal fucking human now. Like in my thing, because it confused the shit out of me for most of the movie. Because I'm sitting here like, why does she have just like normal fucking clothes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Cuz like
like
at
I'm just
least in the other movies they gave like the smart, like the OG ones, they gave the smart people like fucking tattered rags so you could blend in and look like them. But she's still out
yeah.
here in like fucking cargo shorts and like a tank top that's only briefly stained by dirt.
Yeah. Like she just kept having like the fact that she had normal clothes really threw me off.
Yeah.
Because without already knowing that, oh, there's other humans, like other smart humans, it's kind of a moot it's kind of a useless point, honestly.
Yeah.
It just kind of doesn't make sense.
Um so I think another thing that they could have worked on, and I'm not going to say whether this is a good thing or a bad thing quite yet cuz it all hinges on what they decide to do. But you don't get to see a lot of Proximus because
Don't.
he doesn't show up physically until like halfway through the movie. And then
He was featured heavily in the trailers.
yeah, and then once he does show up, he doesn't do anything physically. Like he just talks a lot and then like he has his goons do stuff for him. So it's kind of unclear like what kind of threat he is, what kind of villain he's supposed to be. Until the end when he actually just physically attacks him, which doesn't last very long. But again, that will all hinge on whether, because when he falls off the cliff with the eagles that attack him, he just splashes into the water. So if they decide to kill him there and that's it, yeah, he's kind of an L, like a one note character, and I was
Yeah.
kind of expecting more from him. But if he's survived that fall and he's gonna go on to be the antagonist in the next movie in this, plot line, I
Koba
can
2.
see, yeah, Koba 2 pretty much. Like I can see this just being the introduction and they're going to do way way more with him because now he was at the top of the world and he got completely dethroned, his entire kingdom gone. So if he survives, he will come back with a vengeance, which I think could uh
Hmm.
benefit his character greatly.
That is very true. I like another thing I really liked about him was his this whole thing where he is obsessed with, like, they said that the other guy they found, he was like, he's obsessed with Roman history and all this stuff. And like, he's
Mhm.
granted, you know who he's talking about, but at the same time, he has that thing where he's like, I am the new Caesar. And it kind of has a double meaning because he's saying like he's the new Caesar, like from that, but also like because of it, he's like, I am Caesar. Like I am
Yeah,
like Julius Caesar. Like that is it's kind of a cool.
yeah.
Well, it's always
Well,
been a
his
cool parallel for the series, like the just in general.
yeah, and his name Proximus means the next. So Proximus
Yes.
Caesar means the next Caesar, quite literally, and he picked that name out for himself for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also really like they have it's cool to see the different like first of all, before I get into this part, I really love the visuals in these movies. Like
Yes.
holy
Oh my
fuck.
god.
Hmm.
Like the amount of times I have to remind myself that that is not an actual fucking monkey is
Ape.
kind of insane. Ape, sorry. Sorry for being offensive.
Yeah, it's not the planet of the monkeys, Isaac. What are you doing?
Yeah, you're right. But still, like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's why can't
It
Marvel
goes
do that?
so hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, they put so much effort into the special effects and it pulls it off every single time. Like you look at their faces moving like that and they look very well. Like fucking hair and fur textures
Oh
look super
yes.
super detailed. Like none of it looks bad at all. Any of it. Like there's not even like a bit where it's like, oh, all right, that was a little bit rough, but I'll forgive it. Like
No,
no, it was
like
all
none of
good.
it looked bad. And also
Yeah.
the fact because of that, and the fact that it wasn't like that they were just actual like evolved apes and everything, like there was no uncanny valley feeling.
Right.
And on top of
Hmm.
that, there was the whole aspect of like I'm able to care about these characters. I'm able to appreciate their growth very, very well because of how well like written they are, honestly.
Yeah, not May though.
Yeah,
Not
we
May
don't
though.
talk about
Not
her.
any of the
No,
human characters.
yeah. Patui.
We don't talk about her.
Yeah.
It's
Another. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. No, you cook.
I was gonna change the topic to something completely
Oh,
different. So
yeah, no. Like when I was talking about the appreciating the growth of the characters, like the plot line that Noah goes through in this movie. Oh yeah, cuz I totally forgot the thing I was going to before that though. Sorry. I apologize. Uh the main point I actually wanted to touch on was I like that there were clear defined like roles for apes. Like different apes have different roles because of like whether their build or or just their personal strengths and everything. Like the orangutan, even though we only saw one orangutan in the movie, he was kind of the wise character. Like and he even said that when there were more of them, they were kind of chilled out and they were scholars. Like they
Mhm.
are like a lot of the whole in the OG Planet of the Apes, like the
yeah, they had
orangutans were
their
like the leaders of
hierarchy.
science.
They
Hmm.
were the government, the bureaucrats. the chimpanzees were the intellectuals that did all like the science work, the studying, whatever, and the gorillas were just the grunts who did all the army and whatever like that. And
Yeah.
you do
Talk
kind of
about
see them
guerrilla
falling into
warfare.
that
There's like a
gorilla.
hierarchy.
Yeah,
What?
and you definitely
What'd you
Merrick,
say, Mo?
Merrick, say the
I
joke
said
again. Isaac didn't listen to it.
talk about guerrilla warfare.
That's good. I actually like that.
Isaac Merrick.
Uh, but yeah, it was really cool to see that hierarchy, and in doing so, it was really cool to see uh Noah's like rises and falls through this movie because, well, a son of the chief character, we've seen those in movies time and time again. uh they With him though, it was like he was they were about to do like their, I think they called it bonding ceremony or whatever, where they pick a bird and they bond with it, kind of
Hmm.
thing, or something like that. I don't know.
Mhm.
We never actually got to see that ceremony, but like he went from being kind of almost like a kid to a man kind of
Yeah.
role, and then his whole village is stolen from him. His father, like, it burned down. So like in one day, everything kind of fell down on him,
Yeah.
and it was, and so he has to go through this like journey on finding his family. And the coolest representation of his like growth as a character was the eagle, his father's bird.
Mhm.
Like that was really really cool to have that moment where it kind of like swoops down, and he like starts singing their song, or I think they called it, or whatever,
Yeah.
like that they use to talk to birds and stuff. And
Yes.
like that was such a powerful moment after seeing everything he went through, because he was finally kind of like getting his footing, kind of thing, like. And then his friend he made on the journey died. He was captured and brought
Allegedly.
to allegedly, like, but they he was captured, brought to this place, made to do where he sees his family has been made to do slave work, and like he then has to, like, he learns all this stuff, and it's just, there's so much to unpack, and so much happened in the movie. And to be fair, I was quite tired watching it, so I did doze off a couple times. Uh, but
Wow.
all the parts
Disrespecting the monkey.
all the stuff I did see was just very. It was just very well done. I'm gonna have to watch it. I'm gonna have to watch it again.
Yeah.
But
I
I mean,
think one of the most interesting aspects of this movie is their um like the commentary on religion that they did. Because they have Caesar as kind of like the Christ type character, and you have a few good people like Raka who are actually following his teachings.
yeah,
But then you also have people like Proximus and all his goons who are twisting his words, twisting the meanings, uh, ignoring a lot of the other things that he said to fit their narrative, to fit the new way of life that they have made. And that reflects a lot in, like nowadays and what people are doing with Jesus's words and his teachings. And I thought that was a really interesting aspect about that.
Yeah, I can see that.
No, it's not you can see that like that was a part of the movie that was like intentional. The only other like really good symbolic point that I thought they did um was when Noah gets hit in the chest with the like electric spear thing.
Yeah.
It burns the scar into his chest, just like Caesar's birthmark.
Oh, I forgot about Caesar's birthmark.
That's how you knew which one was Caesar.
Well, I always knew which one was Caesar just based on, he was the monkey in the middle of the scene.
Uh-huh.
Usually.
So I thought that was a really cool point that they did. So like symbolically, even though Proximus, hijacked his name, it's kind of like fate chose Noah to be the next Caesar, and I kind of
Okay,
like
that's
that.
cool.
Um. There's a part where Noah's talking. When Noah's talking to Raka and they're walking through the thing, um, Raka's like saying, "Oh, the apes built stuff for the humans." Yeah, it's like already changing what like happened, like
Yeah,
kind of leading into in the older movies where they're
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, ape is like always been the main thing and not
right,
humans."
right. Like
Yeah.
the
And
truth
then
still is like starting to get swayed and
yeah,
further off from that, which it's kind of like history is written by the victors kind of thing here.
Yeah.
yeah,
And then in that
and
scene, Merrick, Noah points to like a mural with humans on it, and he calls
yes,
them echoes, and then Raka says, "No, humans." So
Yeah.
yeah. I was
that's just like another like faction of that them splitting up into tribes is that they have their own
I was
words for things.
I was about to bring up I liked that they like the linguistic uh divergence between the different
Ooh, the
clans of ape.
linguistic divergence. Merrick put on his
Big
monocle for
words
this
from the
review,
man.
you guys.
Yeah, bro bringing out bro busting out the big
Put a
words.
monocle on the
Damn.
ticket.
But
I
you're
I
not
did
wrong. It is
think that
cool.
was really cool that
Yeah.
it's the clans are like separating even like with the way that they speak and what they call things.
Yeah, that was
Very
another
interesting
thing that I
point.
like because it's 300 years later, and even at the end of war, like Caesar brought his people to a different place. But even then we had a freaking what was his name? Bad Ape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and like even they met him and they were like, "Oh, like did you ever think that there were others like us?" kind of thing. So like even out in the world at that time, there could have been other apes just
Well, yeah, that was kind of
wandering about.
implied that like cuz it was the disease that um killed all the humans that got them infected. Like it was the same virus. It made apes smart, made them sick. So any like gorilla in the zoo or like out in the wild in Africa or whatever, if they came in contact with a sick human, they would get smart out of
Yeah,
nowhere. And that would probably be way worse because they would have no idea and they have no context. They just like wake up and they're smart one day.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's cool to think about that there are apes out there that have evolved from apes that literally had no idea about who Caesar was at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think we should move on to the rankings then.
Yeah. All right. Oh wait, there was one more scene I wanted to talk about actually.
Go ahead.
That I really like. Noah's final standoff with the gorilla. Was
Yeah.
really well done because you could see there was a moment when he was watching, like after, because like he used the pipes to trick him into getting stuck so he would drown,
Hmm.
but you could see on his face there was a moment as the gorilla was sitting there struggling and like reaching his hand out or whatever, like before he got to his like kind of look of triumph, there was a look of like, he kind of had this look of not necessarily pity, but like hesitation almost. Like, I don't know if that was
Well,
just
it's
me,
like
if I'm just going
no,
nuts
so
there.
what I got from that is like so he doesn't want this gorilla to die, right? Like cuz it's
Yeah,
like he wanted to get everyone out of the way of the flood, right? So it's like it's basically like, man, if you weren't bloodthirsty and like dead set on killing me, I would have helped you escape from here. But
yeah,
it's like he's more like disappointed in him, and it's like
okay.
he's like I hate that I have to leave you here to die.
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense.
Shout
More
out to
along
the
that lines.
visual effects to make a monkey face tell you those things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The that
Exactly.
was the other thing I wanted to I was also like, something that I want to point out is that even water physics have gotten fucking
Yeah,
insane in movies.
that wasn't
Like,
that wasn't something I uh thought about until um this movie during the scene where he's fighting the gorilla, but like the water, like, definitely not all of it is real because they
they're
it's
filling a
not a real
silo.
monkey, it's not a real ape. Yeah, because it's not a real ape that's splashing the water around, so they have to.
No, Merrick, actually they drowned 30 real apes for this movie.
That's not true.
That's not.
You're lying.
I
No,
am.
No.
it's not the truth. You're lying.
Uh, all right.
You son of you bastards did it.
All right, Spec. Ranking time. Um, I'll go ahead first. It's been a while since I went first. Like I said, the Caesar trilogy are all solid eights in my eyes. I think there's nothing on like Noah's end or like the technical end to keep it back. But I'm gonna go for like a really high 7 on this. It's like a half step down from the original trilogy. I think May's whole thing is kind of like wasted time, and I think that they should have given Proximus a little bit more time to breathe, a little bit more time to like flex his
Yeah.
powers so you get like a more clearer idea of the kind of threat that he is. Um but nothing that would really hold the movie back that much. It's super good.
Hmm. I'm gonna also give this movie a 7.
Nice.
Epic.
Me, I am also giving this movie a 7. It's a higher 7 than If was, but it is a 7. Like, it was very,
Nice.
very well done.
Yeah.
I will say it. See, here's the thing: is when it comes to movies like this for me, it's it's kind of the visuals and sound design are what I look for in movies, and this was just so good. Like, visually, it was visually stunning,
Yeah.
and
It was really good.
yeah, it was so good.
Hmm.
All right. All right, that should wrap it up then for these two movies. Pretty short episode, but we'll definitely make up for it next time because next time we got another 5-day stack of movies. We will be looking at Furiosa, the Garfield movie,
Yep.
Ezra,
Hmm.
In a Violent Nature,
Yep.
and I believe we were checking out a re-release of Spider-Man No Way Home.
We are absolutely going to go see Spider-Man No Way Home again. We didn't get to cover it on the podcast the first time around. Definitely, definitely going to cover it this time.
All right.
It's one of the few movies that is being re-released that we watched, like, since we've started doing all these movies that we go and do. And, like, if we didn't get to cover something that, if it isn't evident by now, we started criminally late on starting this podcast.
Yeah.
And,
We
like,
had like a whole year and like 3/4 of worth of movies that we never covered. But we're here now.
yeah.
We're
Yeah, we're
here
here
now, and
now.
that's what
So we're
matters.
definitely getting Spider-Man No Way Home in on this because it's going to be great.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, that should wrap it up. Be sure to subscribe because it keeps us going back to the theaters and keeps these videos coming. Check out our letterbox at Cinema Kellan, Regular Isaac, and Other Cheese. And until next time, guys, that is a wrap. Roll credits.